You're on now.
Okay. As some of you have heard me mention, I'm going to be sending one more email with a attachment of staff information that I want all of you to read carefully. Gonna hopefully get it out maybe tonight or tomorrow morning. Those of you who have worked this fest at this site before, nothing major has changed except the break policy, which I will discuss in a little bit. But in general, like I didn't print one of these for everybody because I will be emailing it to you so you can read it carefully, take your time. But it goes through, I'll just kind of like give you the highlights. First of all, the weather forecast for Saturday looks amazing. It says mostly sunny, high near 80. So we might not even get into the 80s. So that'll be a much better change versus what we had to deal with last year. Sorry, spit my gum out. Okay, real quick on the like nitty gritty stuff before we actually do walk through the venue. So no longer require COVID vaccines, but please, if you wake up Saturday morning feeling unwell, call me or text me immediately so that we can try to shuffle things around. We don't want you working if you're sick, especially COVID spiking again lately. There's going to be a checklist on here, kind of the same stuff that I sent in the email today, making sure that there are 4 items that I sent in a previous email. W-9 direct deposit form, those are both done through QuickBooks and Bill.com respectively, and then 2 more things that are done through Google Forms, the emergency contact info and the staff waiver. Make sure you have all 4 of those completed. Make sure that you, I usually tell people bring your ID on Fest Day, but I don't think there's anybody here that I would question whether you are over 21. So I think we're good on that. Obviously, this is the venue. Parking for the day of will have to be, street parking will be pretty limited. I believe that the garages will have $5 all day parking rates, or if you want to, find some other mode of transportation to get here, by all means. Dress code is pretty clearly outlined in here, so I'm not going to go over that with you. Please wear your Brew Crew shirts or your orange event staff shirts. To those of you who have orange ones, I'm sorry. Bring an extra shirt with you. Did everybody hear me? Bring an extra shirt. The reason is we are not going to allow staff to drink alcohol while wearing their staff shirts this year. Festivals in general are enduring a lot higher scrutiny as far as whether employees are allowed to consume alcohol while working. This fest in particular has endured a lot more than its fair share of scrutiny from the PLCB, so we don't want to contribute to that in any way. So what we're going to ask you to do is, I'll get to the mapping of the staffing in a little bit, but each of you is assigned to a section. You will have a section leader. I want you to communicate with your section leader, hey, is it okay if I take a short break? Ideally, best case scenario would be change out of your Brew Crew shirt, change into your other t-shirt, go have a couple beers, and then come back and get back to work. Or you could grab a beer, go into the staff room, which I'll point out later, hang out in there for a few minutes, drink your beer, whatever. Or if you just want to like cover up your shirt with another shirt or a hoodie or something else, that's fine. Just as long as we don't have people wearing staff shirts openly consuming alcohol during the fest. So what are you all gonna do with an extra shirt? Bring it. Yeah, that was terrible. Okay, as I mentioned, I'll point out to you on our walkthrough, there is a staff room. It is very not fancy. In 3 years of this site being under development, that room has not gotten any fancier. So it is gravel floor and dirty and no air conditioning, no restroom, no power. I don't think there's power. I don't remember. But anyway, so it's not much of a break room, but it's all we have. So you will be able to, well, you can read through the directions about, you can leave stuff in there at your own risk. That's where we will do all of our check-in and our shift changes and store all of our equipment and things like that. First shift is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay? Somebody mentioned earlier that you guys signed up for this fest a long, long time ago and you might not have remembered the hours. So first shift begins at 8 a.m. Report to this staff room because the fest won't be closed off to regular people just yet. Second shift is 4 p.m. till midnight or possibly sooner, depends on when we get everything cleaned up. So first shift 8, second shift 4. There is no overlap this year. We kind of bumped things back for first shift just to accommodate setup a little bit better. Please don't wear a backpack. Well, whatever. There's stuff in here. I'm not going to read it all to you. The breaks thing was the most important thing. I also want to stress the importance of keeping yourself safe and hydrated. Bring a water bottle. Bring sunscreen. You can wear a hat. You know, all those kind of things. Shorts. Bring a towel with you to like wipe your hands or wipe your sweat or whatever you need to do. Bring a phone charger, cable if your battery doesn't last all day. I think there might be power, but anyway. I list in the staff information the wristband colors just to kind of get everybody used to looking out for red wristbands is the biggest thing. If you see anybody wearing a red wristband or no wristband and they're consuming alcohol, that's a no-no. You'll need to alert your section leader or me or Mark to address that situation. Sorry, Mark, in the middle there, raise your hand. Mark's gonna be my second in command for the day. So if you see him before you see me, please flag him down, especially because I have a bum knee, so walking is going to be a little difficult for me this year, so I'm going to try to not do it as much as possible. Duties. So in general, first shift is going to be mostly helping with setup and load in. I sent specific instructions today to the people who are going to be serving as section leaders. Listen to them because they've gotten a lot more training than this right now. They have a lot more instructions to pass down to you, but in general, during load-in, for those of you working first shift, our main job is to help the vendors find their spot and then help them unload their stuff and get them out. Our job is not to help them set up their spot, okay? Everybody got it? And there's a lot more details about that in this packet and that you'll get from your section leaders. Paid breaks, I just kind of mentioned that already. Any staff who is found to be intoxicated and or abandon his or her post without approval will be asked to leave the event immediately, and you forfeit any money that you may have earned up until that point. That should go without saying, but I like to say it. There is also a chart of key times that you can be familiar with, just talking about when setup begins, when VIP session begins, when when early admission starts, when general admission starts, when's last call, when's load out start, blah, blah, blah. Those of you who are working second shift, the festival ends at 9 p.m. In general, a lot of the vendors will be having a real good time and they'll be tending to not really look at their watches. It is our job to be, for all day, for setup and teardown, we need to be assertive to the vendors, but also still courteous. We're glad that they came. We're glad that they provided such a great time. However, we have a job to do. We're on the clock. The venue has, regulations and whatnot. So 9 o'clock is when the festival ends. We are going to ask you all to strongly encourage the vendors to to pack up all of their stuff before they go get their vehicle, because it will get very congested. It's congested enough in the morning with 75 or however many vendors coming in, in a rolling manner. Think about how congested it would be at 9 o'clock when they all try to come in at once. So we tell them they can't bring their vehicle in until the majority of the crowd has been cleared out anyway. That usually takes probably about a half an hour or so. So they have to kind of sit tight until 9:30. I would much rather they start packing up their stuff than continue socializing. We have a job to do. We need to be assertive and ask for their cooperation in helping us do that job. So that is all outlined on here. Okay, scheduling. I have my whiteboards up here for first shift and second shift. Somebody noted this, yes, they are on sticky notes. That means they can still potentially be changed. The only reason that I would want to change is if some people signed up with friends that I wasn't aware that you wanted to work together. We could try to make accommodations to get people that want to work together. You don't need to take a picture of this. This will be available in the staff room that day. This will be communicated to you. Like I said, there's only going to be teams of like 4 people reporting to one section leader, so you're gonna get nice and tight with the people that you're working with for your shift. So at the end of the training tonight, if there is anybody who needs to ask for a change in where what team you're placed on, we can talk about that later. At this time, I think we are ready to do our actual venue walkthrough, I have a few copies of a map that is outlined for our section